So everybody, it's Amon here. Welcome back to another one of my versus battles. I think you guys are gonna like this one. I've been always wanting to go and kind of talk about this. I just want to get a full take of things, do a little more research on both characters, get a full take and overarching case of look for the characters and how they're built up. I can't wait to go in full talk about this. I hope you guys will enjoy, as it will be dope versus battle. Obviously, you see by the title, we're talking about two champions of the gods in their own right. Thor, the brawling busky god of thunder, the champion of the Aesir gods, the rug beater of all giants, a killer of the mass villainy that parades Midgard and all of Asgard, the strongest of the Asgardians in Norse mythology physically, and overarchingly the beast, the dude you would never want to touch, the guy your girlfriend told you not to worry about. The next, the highest record of a hero in all mythology, Hercules, okay, Hercules, depending on your version of Greek and Roman mythology, which is going with the general same matter for Hercules, slash Greek mythology is pretty much the one and the same. The betrayer of all type of heroes, the greatest hero of all of Greek slash Roman mythology, a pillager of armies, a wrecker of trials, the man that defied the Nemean lion, the champion of Rome, the symbol of strength, a man of will, the man that killed the Hydra, the man that dispatched Thor, and the man that wrestled the hound of the underworld. I'm talking the son of Zeus and the son of immortal Hercules, the man himself. Hope you guys will enjoy. Besides the long dramatic ass talk, I can't wait to go into this. It's gonna be dope. Love y'all. Let's go and get into it.
So shit, you the one for me. She be killing never go out with them on the scene. And I be getting to the bag, I be getting the cheese. And every time you run my heart skipping out of here, you a bad beast. I'm a hitter like Lil Wayne. No thoughts, really rifles and big chains. Nice waist, pretty face with a big bang. Yeah, I elevate, you ain't just lame. So shit, you the one for me. She be killing never go out with them on the scene. And I be getting to the
Thor, the god of thunder, Odin's son. Time to talk about the Goliath of the Norse gods. Well, first, a few different things to start off over the record of Thor and the same matter for the character. I'm using the poeta and the general same matter for lore about the characters already put together. A lot of the general take for Thor and other characters that I might possibly talk about involving mythology, form of scaling, involving the same matter what they can produce, involving power scaling and things along those lines. But pretty much involving Thor's character. Thor, like I said, is the son of Odin, the All-Father, the king of the Norse gods, and the most powerful besides the record of strength, because obviously that goes to Thor. Thor is the god of thunder, obviously. Brolic, the god of different warlike gauges. He's a god of power, of different fertile means. Obviously, he eats. He's a big boba. He's a big body man. He does a lot of big giant stuff. Obviously, from realistic depiction, he would be built like a strong man, and the GOAT, Ryan Hurst, portrays that greatly. In 2022's God of Ragnarok, the character is a very big body person and is a beast, is the strongest evolving weight. Reasonable depiction would be a man standing beyond the general people of the time, so probably like a 6-foot big giant, but he most likely, by different records, being the strongest by weight and height, being of a gauge of like, I don't know, like 7 foot something. As in God of Ragnarok, he stands hypothetically 7'2", and it's evident that he is the biggest man of all and the big Brock that stands taller than everybody, no matter said instance. Thor is a very strong, big body character, and he stands with that, obviously having half case of biology from a giantess, as his mother is a giantess of the earth in this case, so pretty much Odin had a baby with the earth itself, and he stands tall with that, as he's the strongest and one of the oldest kids of Odin himself, as Thor obviously is a big Brock man that stands beyond anybody's comprehension, evolving a profound stasis, evolving strength and other capabilities. To that being said, now the character is not dumb, but he doesn't stack high in the greatest case of being the sharpest tool in the shed, but it's still a Goliath that has a sledgehammer capabilities, especially with a hammer like Mjolnir. Mjolnir was gained after he almost killed Loki in this universe. In this case, in Norse mythology, it was made as a form of a truce deal between Loki and Thor, as Thor pretty much being the uncle that he has in this case. he basically was getting trickster back to back by this man Loki, and Thor almost had enough. Now Thor always kind of expresses the form of inhumane killing to someone like Loki, but since Loki is the blood brother to Odin, he wouldn't go full out and do some dumb shit like that. But even with the risky case of him actually wanting to pluck this man out of the zone of comprehension with just his hammer, someone like Loki decided to make a peace treaty with his short-tempered nephew over here. With giving Thor Mjolnir, Mjolnir's supposed to anchor his powers and ignite the fire of storms and lightning into his shit. And it was made by two dwarves who are going to make it the best case of a hammer. But Loki still want to play some trickery, even in the case of him offering to give Thor a hammer beyond his comprehension and a weapon like no other. As Mjolnir is one of, if not the most powerful weapon of all Norse mythology, and is a top 10 contender to be the most cool weapons of all mythology, folklore, religion, and legend all together. His hammer is very cool. He calm and collected with it, and it strikes like a nuke on his left side, which it really depends on the account if he's left-handed or right-handed. It doesn't matter. Not really a big play into this. I just want to also mention that as well. But with the hammer, with a little help and collection with his bracers/gauntlets, the bracers are supposed to couple his strength to a bigger hand. The bracers are supposed to just steady his hand, as obviously he can use this stuff without any of his stuff, but he's still a big gigaton beast when it comes down to the state of matter for him using it, and obviously it sparks off electricity. With Mjolnir, he's able to commonly generally fly and move around. He doesn't have to go and use his ghost to do that, as it would ignite the way from the spirit for the sky, but he can rocket his way into the sky by different accounts, as I'm able to stack up to somebody like Jormungandr, a big ass beast that's overlaying half of the sky. With this being said as well, he can always call it back to his hand, because it's always depicted that any time he needed to go and throw Mjolnir, it would always come back to his hand if he let out his hand, or snap any figment of movement to reach for it in the air. It'll always spark back to his hand, as it has immeasurable capabilities evolving what it can do, and speed. Obviously with Thor being a thunder god in this case, he obviously has lightning capabilities, with lightning being 50% the speed of light, with his capabilities being higher gauge than that. He has multi-relativistic capabilities and speed, and Thor is many times faster than light without a doubt, from just lightning alone and stacking to other people and doing multi-case day matter for stuff as well. He's strongest of the strong when it comes down to the gods, because obviously he defending them, he did arguably heroic case things, and being a god that multiple people pledge to as a warrior that reckon multiple cases of power, with this being said. And even if you want to call him fat, which in multiple accounts he definitely is, this man is still a beast. He's pound for pound evolving strength. Him eating and doing multiple countless case of things makes sense, as he ate multiple different type of things, ate 3 cakes, ate a whole house sitting of different boars, chickens, or wherever the case, ate multiple going of food, drunk half of the sea like it was nothing, drunk mead horns. He's a strong man, big burly, big Brock, big ass nigga. He's a beast. He will rub beat you, and he will break you where you stand. Thor has multiple capabilities to be able to stack up lightning kinetic capabilities, of being deciding that from his powers and different things like that. And with this being able to plume through you, evolving Mjolnir and other capabilities. And his strength stands very tall, as obviously, again, he's strong to the strong comparison of other people. It will Mjolnir the stacks with a brace. He also has a belt that kind of ignites his strength, I think 2 times or 3 times full. It's not very clear on the wage of how strong he gets with this belt, but he does have a great AK abilities to grow multiple times way stronger than himself on a general case, with this being said, because obviously he stacks very high in the great A place wage with his strength, because his strength overall overrides a lot of the gods, because obviously he's the strongest of them, and his greatest feat to show that he's strongest of them is lifting Jormungandr on accident. I'm not going to give you the full story. This is not mythology and lore explained in this case instance, which they're a great channel and area same matter for explaining mythology and shit, but pretty much a short synopsis of the story. He was tricked by Igor Loki, that would most likely be Loki, his tentacle uncle, the god of mission himself, tricking Thor into lifting a big ass cat. He tried lifting it with all his might, but he couldn't lift any bit more than a palm. So pretty much imagine a giant cat. He's lifting it like a tiger or something, and he can only lift it up from his palm. This cat was really disguised as the world serpent. So he only lifted of 1/2 point of Jormungandr. And Jormungandr takes up all of Midgard. Is technically a planet-sized big-ass snake. And with this big height, wage of strength, which will be shown possibly in the description if you guys want to see the full scan in this story, you can read from the text or see multiple different descriptions of art and different grafolio put together with it. But he lifts up the world serpent, and the world serpent is so big he can connect his tail to his mouth. He accompanies all of Midgard and another strength feat, which people have highball and different scale. I would say, depending on the state matter for where you concept the form of the 9 realms in Norse mythology, has been multiple takes. It's not like in the form of the MCU or considerable heights with Marvel Comics where they have planet-size consumption, but they have a form of matter in the universe where they're like dimensions, but these dimensions have a planet conform of matter and space where they are and other stuff. And I don't want to like talk dramatic with this because I don't want to push off the boundaries the same matter for what we're doing. But he has a reasonable take and be so high margin to say the matter for power that his big Brockness would plane and scale to the actual conception of either a dimensional point, because he was having the power enough with one being on the top of Jormungandr's head. His battle was so ferocious with him the first time, reeling him in because he was going fishing, but he really was going fishing for Jormungandr. It shook all the 9 realms. With that being said as well, to go back on the form of the conceptual terror between this power, what power allows him, again, if you concept it in the form of a normal planet size and not a speck of a little dimensional state, his capabilities be multi-planetary if it's supposed to be 9 realms in full, unless again it's like in God of War Ragnarok, aka God of War's universe, where doing this would easily place him in the 6D category because he's bursting open / shaking open multiple cases of realms and dimensions on multi-tier stasis. I would not put it there, especially since you don't know the high weight, but it scales his power and definitely the multi-planet level to even star level. He's able to cause that much combustion strength, especially with the stacks on multi-times with the belt. So I would easily say at highball he has easy star level consideration, but you could easily just say by consistency it is a record reasoning that he is reasonably multi-planetary. And if you want to full stack this by all 9 realms having their own considerable universe compounded into it, this will really just make him multi-universal by a high end, which will really mess up half same out for the scan, but it wouldn't take away the foundation of possibility. With that being said, as he has EV capabilities to make that be the case if it would need to, because it's reasonable that he could spike to that stasis of power at a full puck of different places of power, because obviously him being able to do this is grade A and has a grade A capabilities to go beyond if it would get to the full puck of that power in the same sense, which kind of sounds like a weird saying, puck. Okay, he's like pucking the world serpent and technically stated to that. You guys see what I mean. Not to go overboard on that, I'm just saying if you would reasonably suggest that he would scale to that, him popping Jormungandr and making the man's head look like a Tootsie Roll wrapper would be a reasonable count of evolving strength. To finally go into the final talks of Thor as well, to go into a little bit of say matter for his power, but to talk about other parts of his family. He's the older brother to Balder, the fairy's god. His wife is the goddess Sif, the most lustrous and fine looking woman in Asgard, having goldy locks, great blonde hair. He has 3 children, his oldest being Magni, looking like his mother, big like his father, Big Brock, and the most notorious son of the god Thunder in this case. Then Modi, the second oldest, little to Thor, evolving the same after his look. He has a different mother than Sif. Now, depending on the interpretation, because in God of War Ragnarok it is retcon that he would considerably be the actual son and same time of Sif, when it comes down of Thurabon. Sorry for the with that being said, I'm not bored with this. This kind of sounds weird in the case of my voice, but I was going to say in full reasonably that with the take of him being the son of Thor and Sif, obviously it would be a different mother, but in Norse mythology there's different account depending on it. It's not full consistent that he is actually the son of a giant, and Thor slept with a giant. He was drunk, and I'm pretty sure he killed her later on because he did not know, and he felt like she was disguised as his wife or something else because of that. In this time, that wouldn't necessarily detract from being cheating by textbook definition, but in this instance, because he was drunk, it wouldn't be accounting as actual case of cheating because borderline him not knowing. But besides his affairs issues, he also has a daughter named Thor's daughter, as him being Odin's son. Just in case I don't know what that's about, there is no considerable base last name for general gods in Norse mythology or gods in general. It would just be you, son of this person. So even though it doesn't work this way in Greek mythology, Hercules would just be Zeus' son, or in this case, with someone like Magni, he would be Magni, Thor's son, or in this case, Thrud is Thor's daughter, because obviously she is the daughter of Thor, the god of thunder in this case. So it's pretty much hand in hand. She is another child of Sif in this case. So two children, both son and daughter, or son. Sorry for the yawn. I don't want to go. I don't want to like edit this out because it's been a mess. This is how it's gonna happen. It's just a case of yawning with this being. So I'm gonna drink some water.
I had no idea.
Okay. The full correspond with son Magni being the son of Sif, and Thrud being the daughter of Sif, and Thor as well, and possibly Modi being a random child to another giantess. Thor loves his children overall from what he's shown, is obviously when he couldn't lift a big giant that he killed. Magni and Modi, a little taller, booty butt naked, lifted up the giant before it could possibly kill their father because of him having very hard breathing or anything like that. Thor is not super shown. She's just a very small character, but Thor loves his daughter and he loves his kid even if it seems like he's just this big broad dude. And speaking of how he got someone like Sif, the most notorious beautiful woman of all of Asgard, of all the 9 realms, to be exact, was because he showed his lighter side. Even if he's a big giant that loves rug beating giants and doing the most out of pocket stuff, he still has a little light side that maybe picked her, because there's never been an account where Thor was percussed to liking her. He didn't force himself upon her and like no weird stuff. I'm just saying, like, he actually got her in like a faithful way. He did some actual shit that was real and actually got to her in a realistic way. It was actually cool to see, obviously, the progression with someone like Sif involving Thor, because of everything that's been said. And Thor actually loves the woman and wouldn't trade that up for nobody. So it's pretty interesting to talk about. I don't want to go too much involving the actual personal ties and same matter for his life. I just want to go ahead and make it clear that, yeah, Thor can sometimes seem inhumane, but there is a good spirit to him, and he isn't just out of pocket god. Even if he did threaten to go ahead and smear some kids because they decided to go and eat the bone of his goat, because obviously, if you don't know, Thor eats his goats and he resurrects them with his hammer. He doesn't have like resurrection capabilities. I think it's only enchanted for his stuff, and at the same time, he doesn't use the goats in battle. They're just his carriage. But yeah, pretty much it. Evolving Thor and his like personal shit doesn't matter anymore. Going back to the feats and everything, which we already full big scale, evolving his gear, his enchantment, his capabilities, his strength. The other strength capabilities and what he does in his full life is obviously his most notorious rival besides the Jotunar that he kills because they're enemies of Asgard and bring a big threat, and also he doesn't like them because they call him a bunch of different mean names and pin him as nothing but a dumb buffoonery brute. And even though he is a clear motive to kill them by the stasis of matter for them being reasonable enemies to the Aesir gods, his home in Asgard, it's more out of spite, because say the matter for them not liking him for being a big brutus, nuke wielding big 7'2" ginger all around. That was a mouthful. But reasonably, besides the general say matter for reach to kill them, whatever the case of your opinion is, Thor being a quartz of Jotun is also an interesting thing to think about when he's killing them. His biggest rival, though, besides all that, like I said, is Jormungandr, the world serpent, son of Loki, and the biggest creature of all the 9 realms. This creature brings a fierce fight to Thor at the end of Ragnarok, as they've both been cursed to kill each other, and Thor is supposed to die by the venom of Jormungandr, which did happen on Ragnarok's day. Thor put a whole Odin for Asgard and killed Jormungandr, the big beast. He killed Jormungandr by cracking his head open, but after 9 steps, little faint walks, he died. So there's a considerable take to who's stronger in comp with this, because Thor does kill him, he just dies by the poison. There's an arguable take that Jormungandr only dies just because of the pure fact of fate. But I feel like there's a reasonable case for Thor to be stronger and cracking his head and taking him out of commission. With that being said, he still dies because he's fated and reasonable same amount of poison. But who kills who before dying is a respectable thing to take in consideration. Because again, he did kill him, even if he would die. So, y'all can argue about this. I don't really think it matters. We're not scaling them. I already talked about this in my God tier list. But I would spike Thor higher, especially if we count that Odin is stronger. And so, therefore, because Fenrir killed Odin, Fenrir will be stronger than Jormungandr. But I know there are arguments who is stronger between the two brothers, Fenrir or Jormungandr. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care. I'm just mentioning whoever you think is stronger or not. This is a reasonable feat. He did kill Jormungandr. He did crack the beast's head open. And he did have the capability to surpass the world serpent, even the same amount for Ragnarok over rising over him. But besides that, though, that is for Thor, the God of Thunder, the Big Brock. It's time to go and talk about Hercules, the champion of Rome. Now for Hercules, the son of Zeus and son of a mortal woman. Hercules is one of the most powerful people in Greek Roman mythology, and by one of the different accounts, he has been said to have strength higher in potential, or even damn near higher, or even possibly even gauge with Zeus, which is a whole different same after stack. We're talking about hacks and considerable pack of power that he could bring off to other people overall. But his strength doesn't just scale with just strength and other capabilities. He's a very clever guy and did a bunch of different things. And to talk a little about his history, one through, and then going to his actual character, Hercules was a demigod with great capabilities and strength. He could do a lot, stacked to all, could ran through people, could do a lot of different things because obviously he was born with this stuff damn near. But he wasn't an instant case with this capability and strength. He gained this through getting breast milk from Hera, the wife of Zeus, and she took pity on Hercules before realizing that it was fully Hercules that was going to give her the biggest spite and downfall on her great means of jealousy. Because at first she was actually the one who gave him the snakes to kill him, that all we know famously as the snakes of Hades and Disney's Hercules. But actually that was her herself. Obviously, as we know, Hercules will play with those snakes like they were nothing but toys from Toys R Us. I miss Toys R Us. But as well, with taking pity and Athena grabbing him up, he would take this chance to get Grey strength and bite her breasts open to the point where it pierced out with a red and white milk, and it opened up the Milky Way across the universe. Now, with her capabilities to give him this, doesn't really correlate that much difference with her that much in bad. But it would be one of the main reasons for her downfall, to kill him or have anything grade A happen to this man to bring him down. As this would not be the only type of form of great big back that would come back to Hercules in the butt in this case, which I don't mean what I said to have extended the same after what I said there. Because the big back that came back good. Because in full what I'm trying to say, I'm going to say this real quick, I'm just saying that this type of thing would downgrade Hercules more when it came down to her vengeful jealousy, as it would be the big pigback ride that would pull back on his way to be better and do good things all around in the D's department. Because simply put, this man Hercules was basically born cursed because of everything that she wanted to bring to him. He had godly strength and great capabilities. He was loved by all, and he had the capabilities to do great, especially within the mortal world, as being a demigod with great strength and strong strength that could overmatch anybody. And he had the potential to be stronger than even the god of Olympus himself, Zeus, the king of the sky and the king of all the Olympian gods, the strongest of the Greek pantheon. Hercules had the capability to be the greatest. And he still became something in a redemptious way, but unfortunately that will be deserted from him because of everything that her, in this case Hera, wanted to bring to him. Because to get to the full point, what he did that angered her so bad was obviously just be a creation of Zeus. She hated Zeus all the time because of his envious, very careless, lustful acts against her, even if she was the wife of him, as he simply just kept cheating on her with every woman and every creation that was born out from Zeus she saw as a disaster, and Hercules is one of them. As Hercules is one of, if not Zeus's greatest creation from a heroic feat. As Hercules was born with great strength and people loved him all around. So with this being said, it just growed more and more with a hatred form because of the fact that obviously Hercules had all the love. Eventually, he settled down and he had a child with a woman known as Gara, his love interest that we all know and love. But unfortunately, his mind was spiked out with a delusion of rage that cursed him forever, and he pulled a Kratos on his family. He killed his wife and children brutally. He smeared them into the ground with his godly strength, and before he could even wake up from the illusion, his family was already dead. Cursed and everything that he ever loved, he decided that he would want to go and redeem himself and put in work to be a gooder person in the actions of the gods after yelling to the gods for forgiveness. So he went on a long road, went to a big tower, asked for forgiveness, and he went on labors for the people of Greece and did great things. He would travel around Greece and damn near the world to purge away his devious actions in this case. Not in the form of actions that seem at his own spite, because it wasn't by in the same instance devious by him wanting, but very deplorable actions he wanted to get around and with and repent for his devious actions to arguably not have the best care for his family in the same instance, and doing things that are obviously very disgusting by all different accounts. He wanted to redeem himself obviously, and so he went on multiple cases of labors. One of his most famous labors that gives him his iconic helm for a hero is defeating the Nemean lion. The Nemean lion could never be hurt by any weapons of man. So he basically wrestled and gripped that lion, cracked the jaws of the lion the most wrestle He-Man way, and cut off its hide with his own claws that are the strongest piece of cloth fabric in all of Greece. And he stripped it of its hide, and he put the helm of the lion on top of his head to represent the same for a caveman look, but also to represent that he killed the Nemean lion. And so with this granting him more gray armor, he took the Nemean lion down. He did multiple different feats, like wrestling Cerberus, having more strength than it. He was able to take out the Hydra, getting poisonous and fiery arrows because of this, having a big mole, having great champion, a Roman like case armor, having a Sicultari, having a side piece sword, and he had great arrows that were imbued with a little piece of hot fire speed that it could pierce the sun. Now, at the same time, this did not actually pierce the sun entirely. It does not have the actual capabilities that like star level case stuff, but it actually pierced the sun by getting to its far reach. To be able to reach the sun at high ball, since he got the attention of the god of the sun and connection Apollo, this will give someone like Hercules the record of strength and capabilities to easily be able to move at fast and light, say a matter for speed, as he did this just from a sand over in Greece. Now, with being all said, his speed to be able to do this is very mixed, because we don't know if he full hit the sun or someone like Apollo just saw it. But at high ball, if you want to say that he hit it, he has easable, fast, and light shooting capabilities and capabilities beyond a general person. So it's very interesting to think about when it comes down to that. Then when it comes down to speed, there's nothing for a record of his speed, but he's very clever. God has a great deal of same matter for training and capabilities and can ragdoll anybody as he's Big Russell out here. So besides that feat, that's really the only thing of speed. So if you want, you could easily count him as fast and light at a great deal, but again, high ball. But he's reasonably, since he's been able to actually outmove arrows and do big time move shit in the sand, since he has easy speed, faster than sound, lets you highball and say he's faster than light. Next, evolving capability and speed and other things along those lines, his speed capability when it comes down in comparison to Thor is obviously not much, but let's talk about the capability and strength. Now, strength goes in multiple different levels. Strongest of Greece, great capabilities, and his feat to do so is obviously taking out an Nemean lion, wrestling Cerberus, the hound in the underworld, one of the most feared creatures of all of Greece, and different account that he has strength near in the same state of matter for power as someone like Zeus himself, the king of the Olympian gods. His greater form of feats besides the state of account within potential was actually holding up and lifting up the sky slash representation of Earth in the form of the sky, as Atlas, the giant of the cosmos, holding up the sky for eons, for years. And this man Hercules, even though he kind of struggled a little bit, was holding it for a short time until he tricked Atlas to back out from what he was doing and having his freedom and hold up the sky. With this being said, someone like Hercules with lifting this, if it is eternally the same man for the sky, and lifting up the form of cloud cover and holding this, would easily place his lifting strength in the form of island level. And if we put that entirely on his attack case potency, this would, for a good grade A record, put him in the state of town level, in the state of magnitude from the gear doing other things that would be pasted onto him. If we skyball this to really a sky conceptual point, as it is considerably a plate of the universe, in this case, this would easily stack them to, universal pure strength. And then if we just plainly say this is a planet level conjunction of strength, that would record hold him to that extent. But if we want to go by consistency, what is playing, done, set, and match for what he's able to do, he has easy small building to big building level capabilities and strongness because of what he's able to do in comparison to other monsters and the wreckage they're able to carry out, and having better feats than other notorious strong monsters like the Minotaur, other big creatures, a creature considerably in the form of like the Kraken, even though that's not by a form, an actual creature of Norse mythology, more the same for a creature depicted more in the form of Norse mythology. But besides that, that's how it's like. And I want to go and explain something I already kind of picked up on this, and me talking about Sam and my Suicide Squad versus the Winds of Destruction. But just because he can lift this much doesn't stack to his attack potency. As we're talking pound for pound versus the versus, it doesn't really matter how much you can lift in this scenario. Would it hold up that much? They're strong feats and they're cool, and it would make him considerably even the strength pair to pair with him, but it wouldn't help him. It wouldn't make him stronger. It wouldn't make him do anything, and it's really not that impressive, especially in comparison to Thor. But besides that as well, he has cool, clever capabilities. He's strong, he's a beast, and if we highball him to the strength of someone like Zeus, it would be interesting. Besides all the different bigger case talk that comes with that, it's time to actually full talk, full about everything compounded together with the characters and the strength feats that they have. Time to go and get into it. Between Thor and Hercules, the God of Thunder and the champion of Rome. Here's how this fight is going to go. Between these two Goliaths, Thor, if we go and equal out the stats of both of them, will have a great hulking battle, but Thor overweighs him in strength. This man Hercules will try to go and pop out all the clever capabilities, but it will not hold up anything. Someone like Thor, he get around it. The poison isn't the poison of Jormungandr, and even then, Thor can overarchingly overravel someone like him and get around it in full. It wouldn't hold up that much overarching case of difference when it comes down to in full his state of potential to be stronger and do bigger things like that. He overarchingly has a better utility and does different things better, especially with Mjolnir being able to disrupt half of the stuff that happens. And with Mjolnir in Norse mythology, unlike in the form of Marvel Comics or any other form version generally of Thor, you do not have to go and actually be worthy enough to go ahead and lift it, in this case with an enchantment. You just have to be heckishly strong like Thor to be able to lift it, but obviously won't be able to ignite your same power. I feel like someone like Hercules has the reasonable state of power to be as strong as Thor to go ahead and lift it, but he wouldn't rack out anything really different from having it, and really would just be trying to gauge the same state of strength by moving around and doing some different type of stuff that wouldn't hold up any true difference in comparison. Because again, we obviously know that someone like three of the excuse me, it's stuck in my throat. Pause. I need to get some water real quick. Full conclude, override my point with this being said, and that is a cool ass shock effect within the scene that's happening now, as you can see on screen between Kratos and Thor. Obviously, with the 3 bundle of gear that someone like Thor has that can overstack someone in that state of power like Kratos in comparison, with Thor versus Hercules, he would just be able to keep punishing on that and pressure him out of the capabilities to do anything. And Hercules wouldn't be able to stand to him at all. He wouldn't be able to rock with him. He wouldn't be able to hold up nothing to him. And all around, he just couldn't stack anything to him as a full-blown fight. He would just be another person that he could take out of commission considerably easily, just because he holds up so much more in a powerhouse capability. He overtopples him in everything, and he got better capabilities. If he really gets annoyed, he could just toss him like Hercules by the back of the neck and rock him. If we highball scale him, someone like Thor has higher gauge capabilities to do more, and if we would let Hercules have the wink, he obviously would overroll someone like Thor. But if you also want to make that argument, Thor has too much capabilities that will overlay with his powers, and he could easily thunder shock that motherfucker and rock him out of arguably his conception if he's able to bang half in all conceptions that make up the technical 9 realms in hyperbole and make them disrupt in their capabilities. So if we take that into compound with everything else, he would just rugby him. Thor just has way better capabilities, he has way better capabilities and his utility, and he would just rock him. So I see legit 9 out of 10 Thor beating him, and only one chance is Hercules plays smart, but even then, in a full collision match, he would get bodied in my opinion. That's how I feel. I don't know about y'all. I hope y'all have enjoyed this pretty good fight. Pretty good talk. I really like talking about it. I like doing the research. I like talking about these two famous Goliaths of Greek mythology and Norse mythology retrospectively and their own capabilities, and most importantly of all mythology, folklore, religion, and legend. I love talking about these characters. If y'all want to have any more talks involving mythology, folklore, religion, anything like that on the channel, let me know. If y'all want to see a versus bout between any other characters or another version of Thor and Hercules, like God of War's Thor and God of War's Hercules, I can talk about them. I can talk about Marvels. I can talk about other versions. I can talk about different characters. What do y'all want? Let me know. I'm up to all type of ideas. Some of y'all think in the comments. I can't wait to go and hear about it. And I hope y'all rock with all the different things I want to go and pop out with and all that. Try to keep it civil if y'all can. Where the case, I got some bigger creations I can't wait to go and talk about. I've been talking for a long time. I'm gonna go take a break with this big ass talk. I love you. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. Peace out, Army. Love ya.
Why isn't he dead? Are you talking? Who told you to do that? You don't talk. You don't think. I think. You kill. It's a simple fucking concept.